it's really the end of TikTok now. The downfall has begun. It's already been going on. Israel's latched its tentacles onto the application, and already today, users are abandoning the app. It's glitching. You're not getting any views. Of course, the censorship is off the rails, and people from other countries are posting on the app showing their audience, and people are starting to realize, wait a second, if you live in a different country, none of your content is being shown to the American audience, which is exactly what the entire thing was about, making sure that America is in its own isolated bubble. So this guy right here, Larry Ellison, is now one of the largest shareholders of TikTok. This is the guy that TikTok went to, and our data has already been stored on his Oracle servers since 2021. So this isn't anything new, but now he also has control and influence over the algorithm. And for those who don't know just how psychotic this man is and just how authoritarian he is, take a listen to what he's previously said here.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on.
Hey, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, her great millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So I was watching this video, man, and I just, as normal, I got vexed because of these devils. The way they're reacting is because if it's one thing they can't stand is exposure. And in particular, I'm talking about Amalek, which is the seed of Esau, which the scriptures talk about as the least of the flock, which is really the chiefest of the Edomites. And they're the reason that World War III is going to be brought out. That's Ezekiel 38. So what they've done is, of course, they've made that move to get TikTok right. Now it's in the hands. I think it's been sold. So they worked their whatever their little with their rat paws. They worked that behind the scenes to get their stinking rat paws on it, and probably deleted some people. This is the lengths they will go to, simply because whenever there's some type of platform that comes out that's popular and it gives the ability for people to speak freely, in a sense, and truth, they immediately move out of necessity and out of desperation. They covet after that platform simply because they want to control the narrative. And it's all because they are trying to maintain their disguise. This disguise is that they're the victims. This disguise that they're the fewest of the people on the earth. This disguise that they're just the most oppressed, trodden down people on the earth. And you can't say and talk about us because then that's considered hate speech. But really what it is just exposure. It's exposure, and they can't stand it. Okay? Truly, this man is Cain and Lamech back in reincarnation to inflict harm and pain to the whole world while crying victim at the same time.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on, and it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras, it's AI looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised.
So you might be thinking, okay, well, that just has to do with police, but absolutely not, because of course the AI technology that they're implementing on monitoring cameras is the same exact AI technology that they're using to monitor the videos you're uploading. Actually, for users that had to accept the new terms and condition in the United States because of the fact that it's under new ownership, they immediately stated that the videos you use is going to be used to train their algorithms. The AI is going to be analyzing the videos. So everything we do on the app is for TikTok. It's for TikTok. It's for them to get more information on us. And they also stated that they are going to be using the content of your videos to determine things, of course, like your race, ethnicity, nationality, political ideology. It states that in the new terms and conditions. They just went over it clearly. So this is kind of the new authority.
Yeah, that came out last week. The new terms and condition for TikTok, which this was actually the case when TikTok first came out, because I remember it, because people were saying it's a Chinese spy website, you got to be careful. And they were talking about the terms and agreement that it's already been in there. But what they tell you is that anything you upload is free for them to use. You can make money off of it, but it's all free for them to use. They can use it however they want. So they have people who, what they call AI influencers. All they're doing is taking actual people from the internet and using their likeness and their voice to make videos. You agree to those terms the moment you decide to make a TikTok in general, because as it stands, you can't do any copyright regarding AI, because you don't have any rights to your so-called likeness. That's why you have those actors protests in Hollywood, because they can do those films now without even the use of the actors, and there's nothing that they can do about it.
Authoritarian regime that we're in, and it's all for Israel. It's all for Israel, and we know it's all for Israel because, I mean, Netanyahu simply bragged about this and stated it himself. Let me go ahead and play this clip for you guys too.
The most important purchase that is going on right now is class
Followers.
TikTok, number one, and I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one? That's most important. X. That's very good.
So there he goes. I mean, he's just flat out saying it. Hey, you guys, the most important thing, he's of course talking to just like a whole entire team of pro-Israel influencers, and he's just basically saying the most important sale is TikTok. Why? Well, it's because of the fact that we are going to be able to finally control the algorithms, censor anything that is critical of Israel, anything that showcases the truth about Israel, and we're going to make sure Americans stay in this bubble so that way they support Israel forever. This is the new ownership of TikTok.
Yeah, that's why they said, "Oh hell no, we got to cover it after that right now," because if we don't control the narrative, the people are going to find out the truth, and we can't stand the truth. These Edomites cannot stand the truth, especially the Amalekites. The truth will literally scorches them. That's how afraid they are of the truth. The truth will literally cause them to squirm. Okay, if you look up why rats don't really like the light, it's because they have fewer places. It hurts their eyes a little bit, and they have fewer places to hide. Those who like the darkness don't like the light because they get exposure. These devils cannot stand the light. That's why they cover. We must control the narrative. These popular sites where people are allowed to speak freely, we cannot allow people to speak freely because then they're going to speak the truth about us. So we must get our filthy rat paws on all those sites so we can control it all. You see, that's what they're all concerned about. They have, they all agreed that TikTok was a problem and that it must be sold. You must give it to us. You must give us to us. So if there's another site that come up popular, they're going to cover it after that. Well, we need that too. Because we can't allow people to speak the truth, because then we're going to be exposed. Our agenda is going to be exposed. Our disguise as being the victims is going to be exposed. And if it's nothing more offending to them, it's the truth. That's the saying. To the 1948, nothing could be more offensive than the truth. That's why if you just speak the truth, it's considered hate speech, because you're speaking the truth. If you type in what is considered anti-Sem, they're going to give you a long list of truth. If you say they own the media, if you say they run the healthcare businesses, if you say they're prominently the one behind this, behind that, they're going to say that's anti-Sem, and to speak the truth, you're provoking hate. you're provoking hate by speaking the truth. That is why they made terms like free Palestine. They turned that up. That's hate speech. They even using the word Zionist now. Up, that's hate speech. You can't say it because every word is being used is against them, against their tyranny, against their totalitarianism, against their hatred, against their racism, against their violence. And they say that's hate speech. Just like Cain. Cain slew his brother and then cried victim. This is too much for me to bear. My judgment is too much for me to bear. This ain't fair. See? That's these devils. To chant, say like free Palestine, right? Which is just a sign to say the Palestinian people have a right to live. They take that as, so you're saying I deserve to die. That's how this man sees. So that's why they're saying up there's anti-Sem. Now they're saying if you say the word Zion is up, oh, that's anti-Sem. So you see how they try to specialize in hiding. Do you understand? They have many methods. For one, they like to change their names. They change their names. The most popular surgery in Israel is the nose job. Why is that? Because the Lord gave them that distinct look so that they could be spotted. So they try to hide. See? They don't even tell people that they're Amalekite unless they're pressed, because they know that it's gonna come with, you could say, negativity. If you go around saying, yeah, I'm a 1948er, they're immediately turned into defensive mode, immediate victim mode. Why? Because they've been found out. That's all. They just been found out. And the Lord is revealing them more and more and more, and they're squirming more and more and more.
Is the surveillance state that they've implemented, the AI technology that Oracle is going to be using to monitor our videos. There's no free speech. They talk about how America has free speech. There's really no free speech. And the second that there starts to be free speech and a platform comes out where Americans can actually discuss what's going on, well, the government then immediately wants to control that. And it's not, you can criticize the American government as much as you want, but the second you mention Israel, all bets are off the table. It's like they come bipartisan as a massive herd, just ready to stampede over anything you want to say and do. That's always how it is.
Hey guys, check out this cordless fuel transfer pump. Pumping fuel is a total breeze.
So users have been going and trying out different platforms. One of them is Upscrolled. It's a Palestinian-owned social media app. We'll see how it does. I mean, it's a much smaller app, and they of course don't have the same. They simply don't have the money that these.
And that's why the scripture says, "Thou art greatly despised, you Edomites." The moment you got your filthy rat paws on the website, majority of the people said, all right, it's time to leave, time to go to the next one before these devils come in and buy that. Because you do know this man is a man of sabotage. All right, you know how this devil gets down. He doesn't make deals. All right, he'll give you really an ultimatum. Hey, won't you sell me your popular site for social media? Let me say, no thanks, we're doing good over here. You know, I'm good. I'm not selling the business, and etc. Oh, okay. Well then, something might happen to you. Don't be surprised if something happens to you. Like, wait a minute, you gonna threaten me just because I want to say? Yes, that's how this devil gets down. So when they made that campaign, we must get TikTok, we must get X. It was a campaign to say you have to sell it to us right now. Why? Because we can't allow people to speak the truth. Part of the reason they get resistance from them trying to steal the birthright by taking the land over there, right, is that they thought that they could control the narrative to continue to spin that we're the victims. But you got people on the ground with live footage showing children being maimed, hospitals being bombed, people getting slaughtered, all by the hands of the perpetrator, which is Esau, Edom, Amalek, and they lost the control of the narrative. So when people speak the truth, it causes them to squirm. So out of desperation, they go to covet after these platforms. That's why pretty soon we won't be able to teach anymore on YouTube. Pretty soon teaching that you're an Israelite is considered hate speech. Remember, even though Candace Owens, she's a plant, Okay, she's controlled opposition. She's even married to an Amalekite. Even that Omar woman or whatever it is, she's also married to an Amalekite. They're all, you can say, bed wenches for the devil. But even then, when she was talking to that one devil who said that he's above God, above the Most High, Rabbi, whatever his name, I think it started with an S. Him and his daughter run a sex toys, and in Israel they call it kosher sex toys. Wow, you know what abominations. Okay, they sell things for men, women, for sodomy, etc. But they call it kosher. See, more blasphemy. But she asked him to define what is anti-Sem, and he went on this long rant. And what he basically wanted to say was, it can change. However, you can't define it one exactly, right? Meaning, we can make it be whatever it is. It could change. So that's why now saying what? Free Palestine, anti-Sem. Saying the Zionist, anti-Sem. And pretty soon saying that you're an Israelite will be considered anti-Sem. All these videos about them, oh, we must make laws to punish these people. We got to punish them. Anti-Sem. It has to stop. And it's because there's too much truth coming out. The whole world is rejecting them. The whole world is condemning them for their actions. Did you know the judge who was working on the case for Benjamin Satan, not a real Jew, she ended up dead? How come that didn't make headline news? Huh? The judge working the case to bring that nigger in and arrest him, right, ended up dead. Why is that? More than likely because she didn't back down.
Larger social media platforms have to grow. I did make an account on it anyways. The interface is nothing really like TikTok right now, but people are just flooding other social media apps to see, just to make a statement. And then also because some of them, including me, genuinely do not feel safe about the idea of Oracle and Larry Ellison just having this much control and being able to analyze all of your videos. I'm sure your messages too on the app. Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. And they're doing this with every single aspect of our lives. It's the same exact guy, him and his son, who just bought out all of the mainstream media platforms in America, basically all of them. Same exact one who's trying to stop the sale of Warner Bros. So that way they can acquire it, the sale of Warner Bros. To Netflix so they can acquire it. That's the state of America that we're.
And why are they doing that? So they could control what is brought forth. Do you see how desperate they are to try to maintain the narrative? It's all so that they can maintain the disguise. They know that they're a bunch of devils. They know they're a bunch of murderers. They know that they are the seed of Esau, Edom. But the disguise is that, no, we're the holy people. We're the holy people. And you must see us as that. Their very livelihood depends on it, because they all are quite literally living a lie. And speaking the truth would uproot that lie. With us, that will cause them to squirm. You understand? So I was thinking, just watching this, I'm like, how the hell is Amalek going to survive in the kingdom? How are they going to survive in the kingdom? That is a miracle in itself of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Because this is how much they squirm when the truth is brought forth. When they get in the kingdom, okay, there is no more hiding. And I'm just sitting there like, how y'all gonna survive? All right, that's a miracle in itself by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Without even being touched, without even being judged, just the whole world knowing that you are the Amalekites, you are the wicked, you are the most wicked. That alone is going to cause them to squirm. That alone is going to cause them to give up the ghost. They've been completely exposed.
And they want to control everything, they want to censor everything, and they want to make sure that Israel's grip on America is never undone. That's kind of it. So anyways, a lot of users have been talking about moving to Oracle days after TikTok's $14 billion venture. Oracle's Larry Ellison to avoid the U.S. ban. Users reported pro-Palestine content vanishing. Bans for words like Zionist and feeds filled with unwanted video. Oh yeah, I actually showed you guys that already yesterday, where they're just flat out saying, oh yeah, now we actually control the algorithm to make sure that we remove people using the word Zionist as an offensive term. Actually, let me go ahead and play that. I think I showed it to you guys yesterday.
This is the professional one. As you
this is the new.
Are operations teams, which
CEO
include
now.
our content teams, distribution,
TikTok,
user
the
support,
US arm.
and also our trust and safety team, which is focused on keeping the platform safe and really protecting against all forms of hate, especially anti-Semitism. The second is I am a member of the American Jewish community. I have lived the last 591 days amongst so many focused on the return of the hostages, still 58 left to come back. And the third is I am a dad to 2 Jewish girls who have been in on the idea of preventing the perpetuation of anti-Semitism and hate.
So, I mean, he's just flat out saying his beliefs. He's incredibly pro-Israel, staunchly pro-Israel. Right after October 7th, he hosted a panel exclusively for pro-Israel influencers to voice their concern about how the platform, how TikTok, the content that it's showcasing, of course, doing nothing for Palestinians. He's just basically shitting on them all day, every day. But for Israelis, absolutely. You know, they'll change the entire algorithm for Israelis. They're the protected group. Palestinian or nothing to them. Nothing to them. It doesn't matter. They just need to make sure that Israelis are supreme. Actually, the new hate speech manager of TikTok, that loud and proud Zionist, is what she calls herself. It was recently reported on the Jerusalem Post. I think this was the weirdest thing in the new terms and services, is that prior to the push for this new hate speech manager of TikTok, in the guidelines regarding hate speech, it said that any forms of racial supremacy are, considered hate speech. Any forms. That's all it said. So if you're white and you're a white supremacist, that would be considered hate speech. If you're a Jewish person and you're a Jewish supremacist, that would be considered hate speech. Black, whatever, and so on and so forth. They changed it after she took hold. And all of a sudden now, when it used to say all forms of racial supremacy are considered hate speech, it's that part's gone now, and it just says white supremacy is considered hate speech. Well, that's odd. That's odd, because why would it not be all forms of supremacy? Why are we now, a new hate speech manager takes place, and all of a sudden now the only focus is on white supremacy, when every race, anybody can be a supremacist for their own ideology if they look down on people and view people beneath them.
Yeah, and that's because only we're allowed to walk around and claim supremacy over here. So we're going to conveniently change that. You see what these devils do? We got to covet. We need that platform. Now they got their filthy rat paws on them. And now they changed the terms and agreements. So now everybody just knows, time to jump ship. So you see, they've been exposed, but yet they still going to react the way they do because they simply cannot handle the truth. Which makes me wonder how how the hell are they going to survive the kingdom of heaven? All right, that's a miracle. Yahweh Shem Yahshua is literally going to perform a miracle to have these devils suffer and survive for 1,000 years of being in a land established by righteousness, okay, where there's no lie, no spin, where you have no control. You're just on the bottom and you have no money. You know how greedy you bastards are. Guess what? On my plantation, you're getting double taxed. Yeah. How greedy you devils are, you're getting double taxed. Your taxes is going to pay Ham's salary, Ham's wages. That's a good incentive for Ham to make sure you all are going to work. Because I'm going to let Ham know, look, your pay is based off their productivity. So you better pick up that whip and make sure they go to work. Okay? And I'm going to put the money in your hand and I'm going to snatch it right out your hand. Just so you can know how it feels. You greedy, covetous, devils. You get nothing. You understand? And you won't be able to run no spin or nothing on the narrative in the kingdom of heaven. The whole world will know exactly who you are. No more lies. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 5. The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee. The cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. And that word feller goes in the hewer. So every living creature on the planet is going to rejoice the moment you go down, and they're going to know that you are the Edomites. Every creature, even the trees, will know that you are the wicked and you are the Edomites. Okay? You won't be able to run under a tree for some shade to escape the scorching heat from the sun, because the tree is going to bend backwards and say, I ain't giving you no shade. Go over there to them thorns and go to thorns and briars. Go get some shade from them. Like, nah, you the wicked. And that alone, okay, is going to cause these devils to be so low, to be acknowledged, to be seen, where no longer can you hide. And every creature on the planet will know, and you will be acknowledged as the wicked. Book of John chapter 3, verse 19. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. What does that mean? You hate the light because then you're exposed. Okay, that the narrative of anti-Sem is getting watered down every single day, because now it's known that you're just doing it as a way to try to silence people from speaking the truth. This is why these devils are trying to be guys on the planet Earth. They want to be above any criticism. They want to be above the law. All right? We'll just make it to where it's illegal to say anything about us, but that's not good enough now. We need to make it to where you can go to jail, and eventually they're just going to start putting the people to death if you label anti-Sem, which is going to get to the point where if you call yourself an Israelite, you'll be labeled that, because he's squirming so much because the Lord is shining a light on him that this is how he reacts. Too much exposure. Now they can't make no move without getting called out. They can't do nothing without their name. People like, let me guess, Amalek's behind it. You know what that's doing to them? That's causing them to rage. You understand? They can't even sleep. They can't rest, because all day they're trying to run an algorithm to make sure that they stop people from speaking the truth. So it's to the point now where every word you could think of is going to be considered anti-Sem. Even Esau. Don't be surprised if Esau, Edom will be considered anti-Sem, or Amalek. And they're basically going to say only when we use the word is it not considered hate speech. But if anybody calling me an Edomite, that's hate speech. Anybody calling me Amalek, that's hate speech. You know, I enjoy seeing these devils squirm as that light shines upon them. All right? You just know how they react. Even Vocab reacts that way. Vocab Malone reacts the same way. When people were questioning, he acted the same way. He responded in the exact same manner. That's how you know he's secretly got to be an Amalekite. Oh, I'm not tolerating people coming in with the hate speech. I read the comment. All the man said was, basically, how come they can get away with this? And, a reasonable question. And he responded, lashed it, just like his fellow rat would. The book of Jeremiah 49. Verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. What does that mean? That means these Edomites were known for what? Hiding. Your secret places, your underground tunnels, literally, your sewer passages, right? Your Bohemian Groves, right? The things you do in the dark and secret. There was another recent video of this Edomite walking through New York. They got this whole basically city living for free, living off the taxpayer's dollar. And the Edomite asks him, so what do people do for work around here? And they just walk away. They're like, I'm just saying, how do people make money around here? And they just like, hey man, who's this guy? Because you're being found out. Why? Because they're living literally off the American tax dollar. And they just don't want people to know. Right? They look at you all as just slaves, but they don't want people to know who's really pulling the strings. That exposure causes them to lash out. Even one of those Edomites were like, "Oh, you must be with Hamas. Why you come here asking?" He's just like, "Nah, I'm just wondering who, what do people do for work around here?" And they all looking like, "All right, that's the end of this interview right here." Yeah, exposed. Too much. You are being exposed, man. Yahweh Shem Yahshua is fulfilling his promise, and he is exposing you. And we're watching you squirm. It goes on. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, his neighbors, and he is not. Now let's get what the kingdom is going to be established in. Okay. This is the book of Isaiah 16, verse 5. It says, "And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David." You see that? The kingdom of heaven is going to be established in truth under King David, which you all don't have a King David. Okay, you're supposed to have a King David, right? That's another thing. How come their book and their belief is the only religious that's considered off limits for criticizing? How you going to call yourself a Christian, but you turn the blind eye when the topic of Judaism or Zion or the Talmud exists, when that's the most anti-Messiah like book? Okay, how you gonna turn the eye to that, huh? Especially vocab Malone. Oh, I just specialize in targeting black and brown people. I'm going after them. I'm trying to save them. Well, why don't you take the time to save your brethren, the Amalekites? Why don't you ever try to, because he'll put up a video converting Islam to Jesus. Well, wait a minute. Why don't you ever take the time to go convert a rabbi to Jesus? Huh? Why is that? Why is that? We know why. Okay. It says, "And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth." Okay. In the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment, hasting righteousness. So the kingdom is going to be truth, established in truth, light. All right. When the scripture says, Revelation 21:23, "And the city, which are the Israelites, had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of the Lord lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof." Now, we're still going to have the sun and the moon, because according to the commandment, they're there forever. But what does he mean? He mean in a sense, we're going to have complete light. Truth is just going to shine forth. No more lies. No more deception. So you got to think, where does that leave Amalek? Where did that leave you Edomites? That gets a nightmare. A kingdom established in truth, that's a nightmare to these devils, man. It's a miracle how you all gonna say, because I'm gonna tell you, on my plantation, every single creature is gonna know exactly who you are, and you're gonna get called out. They hate being called out. You will be acknowledged completely as an Amalekite in the kingdom of heaven. Since you want to hide, trying so hard to hide, to control the narrative, because that truth just makes you squirm, right? Turns you to a victim. Speaking the truth is like bullets. You know, so desperate to take everything and draw it to are you attacking me by coming to truth, you know? But that's how powerful the truth is. The words of the Lord, it's the strongest. It's the strongest in the earth. Yahweh says, Jeremiah 23:29, "Is not my word like as a fire?" Okay, said the Lord Yahweh, "and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces." Okay, this is the power of the Lord, the truth, and it's only to those who are offended by it. It's only to those who are offended by it. Does it offend thee? Where is that? So, Sirach 33 verse 2, a wise man hateth not the law, but he that is an hypocrite therein is as a ship in a storm. No, that's not the one. Okay, Sirach 32:15, he that seeketh the law shall be filled therewith, but the hypocrite will be offended thereat. All right, they're offended when the truth is brought forth. So I'm enjoying watching these devils squirm as they try to maintain the narrative, because Yahweh Yahushua is uplifting their skirt, and everybody's calling them out for it. Even the other nations are. Even Iran came out a few months ago and said, watch for the false flag attempt made by the Israelis to blame us, to justify going. They calling you out, man. You getting called out worldwide. And in your desperate attempt to try to at least maintain the narrative in the West, you're scrambling to get your filthy rat paws on any platform that speaks the truth, and now you're pushing for basically capital punishment for those who speak the truth. You make sure you're always at the top of the list. But again, it's all disguised as quote-unquote hate speech. No, it's just because of them. That's why we say, all right, the famine of the word is going to come by the rhetoric of anti-Sem. This is how we know how it's going to happen. Pretty soon, speaking the truth will be considered hate speech, and thus our channels are going to be taken down. They're going to send ICE, the National Guard, after us. That's that insurrection that spoke about in 2nd Ezra 16. Now you can see who's going to lead it. All right, they might use Trump as a puppet, but they're really the ones behind the scenes, pulling the strings, because too much exposure. All right, so that's just a news update. Shalom.